Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Family Sedan channel, and damn, there's a lot going on in crypto right now. As everybody knows by this point in time, of course, Monday, the SEC sued Binance and CZ, the founder and CEO of Binance. Then on Tuesday, the SEC formally sued Coinbase. Now, we knew that one was coming, right? Because the news broke months ago that the Wells notice had been delivered to Coinbase from the SEC, indicating, yep, we have intent to sue you. It's just a procedural thing. And we knew that Gensler had the votes to make that happen. So as far as I was concerned, I've said this many times before, it was really nothing more than a formality. And so now I got back-to-back lawsuits from one day to the next. We've got, I want to share with you the latest from attorney John Deaton talking about how courts are absolutely paying attention to the gross overreach of the SEC as a result of all of this. Hogan says that Coinbase and Binance can actually try and force developers of cryptocurrencies, which are alleged to be securities in those lawsuits, to participate. Now, that's an interesting concept. What else do we got here? Gensler, oh, this is fun. Gensler previously said that the SEC has no authority over exchanges, yet here we are, and they're getting sued into oblivion by the SEC with him at the helm there. And got some of the latest comments from Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse. So anyway, there's plenty to discuss in this latest room temperature jam. But before going further, I do want to be clear that I do not have a legal or financial background of any kind. I am not offering legal or financial advice. And you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. And not surprisingly, as a result of all these lawsuits, and I'll cover this a little bit later in the video, but there are plenty of renewed calls for Coinbase to relist XRP in the wake of this SEC lawsuit on Binance and Coinbase, really. But take a look at this. So here's a tweet from attorney Jeremy Hogan. He wrote, "The war against crypto has fully begun. Will crypto put together a coalition? The projects alleged to have sold securities, if they have two nickels, should intervene in the lawsuit and argue they did not sell securities. Get in the fight or die on the sideline." So this, as I was reading that, it just made me think back to at the very beginning of the SEC v. Ripple case. Attorney Deaton said something which, he was among the first to really recognize what was going on and what was at stake here. And I remember him in the earliest of days, he said it, and I think probably Brad Garlinghouse did too, but they noted, look, this is not just an attack on Ripple. When the SEC sued Ripple, claiming that XRP is a security purely by the nature of it existing. He said, no, this is an assault on all of crypto here. And now here we are, about 2.5 years later, and you have the SEC claiming multiple cryptocurrencies are securities. And to the projects out there, anybody out there that might be at risk having developed any of these particular cryptocurrencies, as attorney Hogan saliently points out here, if you got a little bit of money, he said if you got a couple nickels here, probably a good idea to jump into the fight and be proactive, because the reality of the situation is, and it's going to be extra true if things get worse and start not going so well for the exchanges here, if it looks like the SEC is getting to win. I mean, they're coming for you anyway. Don't think that they're not going to come for you. They just made a strategic decision to go after exchanges so they can assert all these coins are securities and negatively impact the entire crypto space, rather than file all those individual lawsuits. It's the similar concept to, like, two birds, one stone. That's effectively what they're doing right here. So what's interesting here is what attorney Deaton said after that. This is, and I don't know that they're going to do this, but this would be interesting. So attorney Hogan says, or Coinbase and Binance could make their lawsuits full and utter S-word shows and interplead all of the projects alleged to be securities into their respective litigation. Maybe not the best way to do it, but it would make for some interesting hearings. Now, I actually didn't, since I'm not a lawyer and I don't pretend to be, I just play one on YouTube, right? Okay, so maybe I'm pretending to be. No. But I didn't really realize that procedurally Coinbase and Binance actually could attempt to force developers surrounding these coins to participate in the lawsuits. Now, that would be something. And not that I know everything about all of these projects. I mean, I've generally just, I think I've heard of, if not all of them, then most of them. Doesn't mean I know a ton about all of them. But would you think that all of them literally would have enough money to fight, on multiple fronts against the SEC? Because I would hazard a guess that the answer is no. Some probably would be able to, and probably most won't, because the amount of money that it costs to accurately do this. I mean, you know what the Ripple lawsuits cost. I mean, Brad Garlinghouse publicly stated, hey, when it's all said and done, it's going to cost them, they think, about $200 million. So no, I don't think most coins can, which is why it would be an interesting strategy if you tried to drag them in kicking and screaming. Now, that would really be something. And then there was this. Attorney James Murphy, who goes by the name Meta Lawman, tweeted out the following, and this was actually on May 3rd, so check this out. After he was confirmed to his post as chairman of the SEC, Gensler testified to Congress on May 6th, 2021 that the SEC does not have authority from Congress to regulate crypto exchanges. Well, how about that? Just over 2 years ago. Kim Jong-Gensler says, nope, we can't touch those cryptocurrency exchanges. Of course not. We don't have that kind of authority from Congress. Yet, what just happened this week? What did I mention when I started this video? That's right, Monday, SEC sued Binance, then Tuesday, because that wasn't fun enough, it's time to sue Coinbase. Gensler knows he doesn't have the power to do this, can't do this, he knows it's wrong, and he does it anyway. What is wrong with this person? And so Attorney Jeremy Hogan retweeted that, and Attorney Hogan said, SEC v. Coinbase. The lawsuit, the head of the SEC stated back in 2021, it did not have authority to bring. I wonder what changed. Well, I think he's being less honest than ever before. I think that it's just a jurisdictional land grab, and consequences be damned. Whoever it harms, including typical retail investors like you and I, consequences be damned. Just going to do what he wants to do, because reasons, folks. And then there was this from Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse. He said, if it wasn't already clear, it should be now. Chair Gensler's laughable pro-innovation stance, as he said today, is exactly the opposite. What this also tells me is that the SEC is throwing lawsuits at the wall and hoping they distract from the agency's FTX debacle. It's embarrassing to watch an unelected bureaucrat flail like this to mask the fact that he and his agency don't have the power that he so desperately craves. No one is fooled. Yeah, so don't forget, with all the FTX nonsense, literally meeting with Sam Bankman-Fried, couldn't sniff out the complete and utter fraud there, but had some fun suing that Kim Kardashian, right? Protecting us from Kim Kardashian with her ETHMAX ad. How about that? Isn't that a fun time here? Here's another comment from Brad Garlinghouse. Or maybe, all right, I think. Oh, maybe I did have them both put up. Okay. Yeah, no, that's fine. So then there was this. So that was retweeted by an account called TikTok on Twitter, TICTOC, who wrote, Welp, with strong words like this, I take it that Ripple will be going to trial or a higher court, and then tagged Attorney Jeremy Hogan there asking that question. And Attorney Hogan simply said, I would say that any talk of settlement was premature. Yep. And I know that there was a lot of speculation that with the Hinman emails coming out that perhaps that might mean that there would be settlement, but I'm of the same mindset of Attorney Deaton when he cited, now, if that was going to happen, it would have been before Ripple had the Hinman emails and draft speech, all that in their hands. So after that came out, and then there was no any sort of settlement to that point. I think it was pretty clear. The writing's on the wall. Like, it ain't happening. I mean, fine. Technically, there's a possibility, but what is it, like a fraction of a percent, 0.001%, something tiny, minuscule? I can't imagine what would have to develop for that to happen. I mean, the SEC's made it very clear. They're just, kind of like Brad Garlinghouse said, they're just throwing out as many lawsuits as possible and seeing what sticks, basically. And then we had this from attorney John Deaton. He said, Binance, the largest exchange in the world, has been sued by both the CFTC and SEC. There are rumors that the DOJ may file criminal charges against Binance and CZ. Yeah, let me pause right there, by the way. In that clip where Gary Gensler said that he didn't have congressional authority, the SEC doesn't have congressional authority to regulate exchanges, he also noted that the CFTC doesn't either. He called it their sister agency. He said, nope, they can't do it either. But here you have these two government agencies fighting against each other for jurisdiction. Mind you, again, Congress didn't give such jurisdiction to either of them. They're just doing it. It's disgusting. And to this point, although, again, of course, Monday, yeah, that suit was filed against Binance and CZ, there's nothing criminal filed yet. So Attorney Deaton warning here, hey, Department of Justice may file something criminal, and that would bring this up to like a whole nother level. And then Attorney Deaton says, the largest American exchange, Coinbase, has been sued by the SEC, effectively asking for a permanent injunction to stop the entire business model. Desperation is the appropriate description. This is all bullish for the long term. Several companies and projects, tokens, will emerge from the regulatory carnage and lead us into the future. Yeah, that's for damn sure. That's absolutely spot on. And the good news is for we XRP holders here, it's going to start with XRP. Although technically, yes, there are a handful of coins that already went through the ringer and have regulatory clarity, like obviously the Kick Interactive case and all that. XRP will be the only large cap coin on the planet to have regulatory clarity. And so, yes, technically we're waiting to see what happens, and we could get some sort of disastrous ruling from Judge Torres, but I am optimistic that we're going to be getting some good news specifically surrounding secondary market transactions for XRP, which is really what we need. That's about all that we need. As long as that's clear. I mean, technically after that, yes, you would still want to make sure that cryptocurrency exchanges relist XRP, but why wouldn't they feel comfortable doing that after that? And then there was also this from Attorney James Murphy, who again goes by Meta Lawman. He said, the SEC versus Binance case has just been assigned to DC Judge Amy Berman Jackson. Judge Berman Jackson previously served as a federal prosecutor, but she has also worked on the criminal defense side. She was appointed to the bench by President Obama in 2010. She has presided over some high-profile cases involving Trump officials, but after a quick search, I haven't found any cases involving crypto. The judge is well respected by the bar, and I don't think this assignment particularly favors either side. Hey, you know what? Good. I mean, as much as I want crypto to win, I believe in justice. I want there to be, zero bias when it comes to anything in the judicial system. And then he says, and worth noting, Judge Berman Jackson's appointment to the bench was confirmed by the Senate in a vote of 97-0. And then we had this from Jake Chervinsky, who is an attorney well known within the broader world of crypto here. He said, if the SEC's legal theories on investment contracts are right, then basically all luxury goods in existence, watches, sneakers, cars, handbags, are securities. The idea that the SEC should regulate markets for these goods is, I don't know how else to say it, pants on head crazy. I got a kick out of that one. After I read that, I was like, I got to try and incorporate that comment into my own daily life. Pants on head crazy, son. He's right, though. I mean, that is what's at stake here. And Attorney John Deaton retweeted that, and he said, I'm sure some people not paying close attention might think Jake is being hyperbolic here. He's not. The SEC's theory regarding digital assets is so overbroad that it equally applies to Air Jordans, Yeezys, baseball cards, Pokemon cards, Rolex watches, Birkin bags, etc. And so, not surprising, and it's kind of nice to see, to be honest with you, even though I don't think anything's going to happen in the short term, renewed calls for XRP to be relisted on exchange. And so there's an article about it from the Crypto Basic here. Community urges Coinbase to relist XRP as Ripple CTO and General Counsel highlight major development. And I don't want to read the article. It's kind of straightforward here, but the key parts of this actually do want to highlight. So there are a few tweets that were shared in this article from the Crypto Basic, including one from my fellow XRP YouTuber, The Bearable Bull. And he wrote, there is no reason for XRP to still be delisted from Coinbase after what the SEC did. They have not delisted all the other cryptos. The ultimate show of crypto harmony is to relist XRP. And again, I totally get the sentiment. I understand. And I would love to see that. Maybe if we get really, really lucky, it happens. I still think that XRP was, delisted to try and make it more likely that Coinbase would get approval for an IPO from the SEC. Because if you think back to, when this all went down, I mean, they were months out from actually having their IPO. But, after the SEC, sued Ripple, would it have been in the best business interest of Coinbase to just say, yeah, we're just going to keep XRP listed? So I get it, but of course it does appear, obviously, as a result of this, that there's a certain inconsistency, which is why we're all frustrated in the community. Because we're all the rest of the delistings. Well, that's the thing. They can't do it. And if Coinbase, so they made what to them probably was a smart business decision. That's how they perceived it. But they can't be intellectually honest and consistent and just delisting everything that the SEC says is a security, or else they won't have a business anymore. Right? So they did this one thing with XRP, getting rid of XRP for now anyway. Even if so who knows? Maybe they actually didn't think that would have, that maybe they thought that actually was the right approach at the time, but it is what it is here. So yes, I would love to see XRP relisted, and I don't mind anybody saying, yes, let's get a little campaign going here, and they're trying to get the exchanges to relist XRP. And Ben Armstrong, aka BitBoy Crypto, jumped in here. He also said, relist XRP, Uncle Brian, of course referencing Brian Armstrong, the CEO of Coinbase. And then Joey Swole, well known up on the Twitters, he wrote to Brian Armstrong and said, now would be a great time to relist XRP. So I'll just say I appreciate the efforts. Don't hold your breath, though. But hey, going for it. I have no problem with that whatsoever. I'd love to see it. Again, XRP is my favorite cryptocurrency. It's my largest crypto holding. Yes, I would love to see that. 100% here. Now take a look at this. This is a comment on Twitter from Paul Graywall, who is Coinbase's chief legal officer. And he wrote, earlier tonight, the Third Circuit issued a short order in Coinbase's mandamus action today. I'll just pause to note what's being referenced here is the SEC. I'm sorry, Coinbase actually sued the SEC last summer with that mandamus filing. In a nutshell, just saying, hey, SEC's not doing their job. Hey, judge, can you please make the SEC do their job? And basically, what Coinbase was looking for was, hey, just give us some clarity surrounding rulemaking for the space. In a nutshell, that's pretty much it. And so, anyway, Paul Graywall said, earlier tonight, the Third Circuit issued a short order in Coinbase's mandamus action today. The court noted the SEC suit against us this morning and asked the SEC whether that means the SEC has decided to deny our pending petition for rulemaking. The SEC has 7 days to respond. So how about that, folks? Because of this, because the SEC is very sue-happy, another court looked at this and said, whoa, little bitches, what are you doing here? And now they're going to have to answer, and they've got 7 days. They've got 7 days to answer. And by the way, just as a little reminder, Coinbase's response basically was, hey, we haven't said we will or will not comply with Coinbase's request. It's just that we're still doing it. And the SEC's argument, which is BS, is that we need to do it on our own timeline. But almost a year had passed at that point. It's completely absurd and laughable. But anyway, so that was retweeted by Stuart Alderati, who is Ripple's chief legal officer. And Stuart Alderati said, it may have been lost in yesterday's other news, but this is really big. Attorney John Deaton retweeted that and said, courts are paying attention to the gross overreach and the inconsistencies by the SEC. And then in a separate tweet, Attorney Deaton wrote on this topic, it's still early, and this particular battle isn't a game changer, but it's an important battle within the war. To those like Kevin O'Leary, who said Coinbase was stupid for suing the SEC, you were wrong then, and you're wrong now. Go back to my previous tweets, and I said there's a good chance an appellate judge could blast the SEC for its conduct, just as Judge Netburn did in the Ripple case, just as the judge did in the Voyager case, just as the judges did in the Grayscale appeal. There are two courts, the courthouse and public opinion. Eventually, we will win both. Brad Garlinghouse, Stuart Alderati said 2 years ago, the SEC is wrong on the facts and the law. And so I think that's absolutely spot on here. So it is good to be on the right side of history. Obviously, the facts and circumstances favor just people in crypto in general, and certainly XRP holders as it pertains to the SEC v. Ripple case. But it really is encouraging to see the SEC get smacked down by so many different judges in so many different suits. They are out over their skis, my friends. They're not operating in good faith, which is why this is going to keep happening. And no judicial system is perfect, but I will say in the United States that, generally speaking, what should be done ends up being done, or a very close approximation of it. So I really, truly am optimistic we will be found to be on the right side of history, and history books won't be so kind to the SEC and Kim Jong-Gensler. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the Moon Family Sedan.